This is the bit you've all been waiting for, I suppose. On the Supreme Court ruling, now I've watched it back a couple of times and I'm going to get full transcript and we'll get it a wee bit more. But on the Supreme Court ruling, it would appear that the Labour Party stole the Scottish people's sovereignty in the 1998 Scotland Act, as was pointed out by the Supreme Court justices. Okay, now, the trap was laid by Labour, and I'm afraid Alex Salmond and the SNP, that's my party, walked right into it when they agreed to Section 30 order. You see, the 1998 Scotland Act reserves the treaty of, between Scotland and England to the Westminster Parliament. Agreeing that Section 30 order, as I've said before, ratified that act, which neither us and the Scottish National Party have ever really recognised, because we voted for Home Rule and they decided what Home Rule would be. And the Labour Party, right in the 1998 Scotland Act, stole the sovereignty of the people of Scotland, because the Treaty of England and Scotland and England was reserved to Westminster, and Westminster's sovereignty over Scotland is how the Supreme Court judges actually described it. The Supreme Court judges also said that the right to self-determination doesn't apply to Scotland because we are not oppressed or occupied by foreign forces. I beg to differ. If you voted consistently and democratically to have a mandate played out, and it's denied by another country or another parliament, that is oppression. Telling people that they can't have a say in their own future is oppression. As to the Supreme Court's judgment that the people of Scotland have access to government for economic and cultural growth, wrong again. Economic levers are all held in Westminster except for one, income tax, and we are culturally oppressed when we are not allowed to express a view on ourselves. The crap that came out of the Supreme Court this morning was gobsmacking. If you deny a person a say on their own future, that is by its very definition oppression. Sure, you were no fucked. One door shuts and another door opens. But the ruling of the court was just not, it was nonsensical. As was the ruling of the court when we wanted to embed the rights of the child into Scots law under the UN Charter. Their thing there was that the Westminster Parliament wouldn't be able to legislate for children in Scotland without considering the children of Scotland's rights. That is oppression. They oppress the rights of Scottish children. What is it with these Supreme Court fucking justices? Are you stupid or corrupt? Wow. If I was to deny Sarah a voice in our relationship, that would be oppression. I would be in court. I would be getting charged with a controlling conduct and oppressing her free will. But let's get back to the duplicity of the English Labour Party in Scotland. The 1998 Scotland Act reserved the treaty of the Union of Scotland and England to England and the English Parliament. As to the claim about having democratic access to government, 59 MPs versus 550 MPs isn't democratic. That's what we call the democratic deficit. The Supreme Court judges were talking out their arses. But the duplicity here was on the Labour Party. And I will never forgive them. And if anybody else in Scotland forgives them, then there are some sick fucking puppies in our land. What do they call people who like to be oppressed? Fucking gimps! So, The Supreme Court ruling this morning was a bag of pish. A pile of pish. If you deny somebody a voice on their own future, by its very definition, that is oppression. The people of Scotland have voted 5 times now for an independence referendum since the last one. It's been denied consistently. That's oppression. It's also no access to democracy. It means that the democracy here in Scotland doesn't mean nothing. Not a thing. Power devolved is power reserved. All that's left for them to do now is to shut the Scottish Parliament, and that's where we're going. Why are we going in that direction? Well, England's fucking broke. It's squandered every fucking penny that the people of Scotland have, and they intend to take what last of the resources we have to finance their fucking pissing about and producing nothing except for lazy skivers. Lazy skivers who throw the life out of the countries round about them because they can't afford to stand on their own 2 fucking feet. And they've got a cheek to call the rest is too wee, too poor, too stupid. Scotland's got a balance of trade surplus. Therefore, Scotland doesn't have a deficit. England's got a massive balance of trade deficit because they produce fuck all. Not even the food they eat or the clothes in their back. They're a useless people. An unproductive people. A parasite which has raped the world. But that's generalising. We could take it and say it was the English elite that did it. It wasn't, it was the fucking 4 lock tuggers and they're still doing it. Non-productive. Even the plants that are doing that road. The plants that are doing that road don't even belong to the people of England. Nothing. Let's take the Grimsby plant, which has just been shut down because of Brexit. 200 jobs gone. Owned in Iceland, that one. Or the car manufacturing plants in England. Not one of them was English. The steel manufacturers in the UK. None of them are English or Scottish. Everything's been sold and outsourced. The only thing that English people actually provide is professional services, and nobody needs their fucking professional services anymore. None. So, England's parasitic relationship with Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland goes on. They continue to suck the life for our duties and deny us a voice on our own. Now, the English people, they might not think that way. The English people might be quite supportive of the idea of self-determination in Scotland. But they voted for the fuckers down there. They voted for all the governments we've had for as long as I've been alive. Scotland hasn't had a say in it. Never. And now we're told our voices with democracy don't matter. This is a day that the Supreme Court in England will regret. Simple as that. This might have lengthened the amount of time it's going to take to get where we're going, but we're still going there. 72% of our children want it. And if I was Nicola Sturgeon, I'd have turned around to the Supreme Court judges today, anti-Westminster, I don't give a fuck what you've got to say. I don't give a fuck about your Scotland Act. We're going to do it anyway. Because we are a people in a country and you're no sovereign in ours.